Mama, please come help me.
Aylah was pretty groggy. She was up late last night, and it was still 4 in the morning. That didn't sound exactly like her daughter Evelyn. Ava's voice was more sweet and innocent. This sounded like Ava in the beginning stages of possession. Can you come in here, sweetie? Aylah really didn't feel like getting up this early in the morning. She would just have Evelyn sleep in bed with her. Adam was out of town, so there was plenty of room in the bed. I'll help you. Just come in here, girlie. Aylah's eyes closed slowly, despite her using every ounce of energy to keep them open. She fought as hard as she could, but Aylah lost the battle.
Be down, Mama.
That was Aiden, Ava's younger brother, as well as Ayla's son.
Stop scaring Mama, you.
Come in here, baby boy, Aylah called out to her son. What did they mean it's scary in here? Aylah was in here, and she didn't see anything scary. Aylah tried to sit up, but something held her down. That wasn't quite right. It was not a shape or a person holding her down, like a cloud of darkness was pinning her to the bed. It was more like a force, or gravity was increased.
Mama, please come in here.
Evelyn called from the young kid's shared bedroom. Aylah tried more aggressively to sit up. Her abs began to burn. She again lost the battle. What the hell was going on? Why was she unable to move? Aylah began to get scared. Aylah's eyes closed again. In the darkness of her mind, she could hear something moving around in the darkness of her room. Whatever moved in the darkness was quick, like a mouse, but much bigger. It sounded about the size of a baby doll, but Ava didn't have a doll that could walk on its own. Aylah didn't even know if they made a doll like that. Aylah tried to open her eyes again, but they were super glued shut by an unseen force.
Mama.
Aiden sounded scared, and something scurried under Aylah's bed.
Mama, wake up. It's time to get you. I'm still Mama.
There was a moment of silence, then Aiden screamed.
Mama, wake up.
Aylah tried to sit up again, but again the unseen force was pinning her to the bed. The bed began to vibrate lightly. Aylah tried to scream for help. It seemed the muscles in her face were frozen also. Aylah didn't make a sound. She tried kicking her feet, but her legs didn't work either. Mama, Mama! That voice didn't come from either of her children. It was the creepy voice of an old toy. It sounded like one Aylah had as a little girl, but that baby doll was long gone. Mama! Mama! Where the hell did that thing come from? Aylah was sure Ava didn't have a doll that sounded like that. Was that doll what was keeping her frozen to the bed? She was paralyzed to the bed, listening to her kids crying, and a creepy doll calling to her from under her bed.
Mama.
This was Aiden again.
Mama, you need to get out of there.
The way her kids sounded was breaking Aylah's heart. Aylah tried to stand up, but she couldn't. The doll giggled from under the bed. Something hit her like a bolt of electricity. In the flash, Aylah could see the shadow of a demon, or maybe it was a witch, sitting on her chest. Slow, hot breath was breathed into her face. It smelled putrid. She opened her eyes, but they slammed shut only seconds later. Her mind was full of a swirling dark smoke that seemed to have complete control of her nervous system.
Did you see him, Mama?
Ava asked. Aylah opened her eyes and forced her face towards the door. The hall light was on, but her room was still very dark. Ava was standing next to Aiden. They seemed terrified. With the dark room and the bright backlight highlighting her children, the kids looked like shadows. They now looked like they were waiting for the right moment to pounce. Aylah didn't think it was their stance, but their demeanor giving off a dangerous vibe. Two icy hands touched Aylah's cheeks. Her eyes slowly shut. She forced them open again. Her kids were no longer in the doorway. The icy hands on her cheeks forced her face towards the ceiling. It breathed its disgusting breath directly into Aylah's face again. Aylah held her breath for as long as she could. She could feel the thing's greedy eyes on her. She even sensed a smile. Aylah still fought. She hoped that she would pass out before she had to breathe in the gross breath. Aylah tried to thrash her on the bed. Still, she was unable to move a muscle.
Mama, wake up and let me eat.
Her kids sounded so sad and scared. Aylah used every bit of her strength to open her eyes and force her face back to the door. Her children were standing there again. Aiden in front of Ava Lynn this time. Aylah could only see their silhouettes. Her eyes closed and her mind shut off for what felt like only seconds, but who knows how long it had really been. All she knew was that when her eyes opened, her kids were no longer in the doorway. Something flashed again, and the doll giggled. Aylah didn't see the demon on her chest anymore. She tried to sit up, but still could not. Aylah tried to scream for Adam, who was in another state. Her voice didn't work. She tried to scream for her kids. Again, her voice didn't work. There was a loud footfall on the top stair from something that must have been ginormous. Aylah tried to scream in terror. She was already sick of her voice not working. Another step on the second step. Her heart was pounding in her chest. An unseen force grabbed Aylah by her armpits and lifted her gently into a sitting position with her back against her headboard. The same force turned her head slightly to the right, so she was looking into the darkest corner of her bedroom. The corner was somehow darker than it had ever been. Then something even darker formed from the darkness. It was nearly as tall as the ceiling. This was humanish shaped, but it was much wider. Aylah could feel the fear emanating from the shadow figure. It was not like any fear she had ever felt before. She now knew why she was paralyzed, both physically and vocally. It was whatever this thing was. The shadow inched forward, and another heavy footfall came on the next step. The fear paralysis was so powerful that Aylah was not even able to shake from the fear. The shadow stopped when the next footfall fell on the next stair. That gave Aylah a tiny sliver of hope. Maybe the shadow was scared of the thing on the stairs. Maybe the big thing was there to protect her. The hope was short-lived. The thought of what nightmare could possibly scare the terrifying shadow was pretty damn scary. Her heart was the one thing that was not frozen. It was currently trying to beat itself out of her chest. The shadow began to move again, with two more heavy footsteps on the stairs. Aylah wanted more than anything to scream. Even if help didn't come, the fear inside her was building up pressure like a boiling teapot with a plugged spout. Eventually, it would blow out the top of her head. Both the shadow and the thing on the stairs stopped moving. The doll under the bed giggled.
Mama, please wake up.
Aiden said, and the fear in his voice was clear.
Mama, don't let them get you.
Aylah wished more than anything that she could grant her son this wish. She wanted so badly to run away. She would grab the kids and run out the door to her dad's house, about 4 blocks away. Still she sat cemented to the headboard, like a living statue. Aylah fought with all her strength to move her back away from the headboard. Aylah couldn't believe how much control this thing had over her. She was not even able to grunt against the strain. Nothing happened, then nothing happened before nothing happened. Aylah dug to a deeper level and felt herself move. It was no more than an inch, but at least it was something. The shadow shifted, then approached. Aylah tried with everything she had to scream. The steps approached down the steps. After only a few more stairs, it was approaching in the hallway. Aylah wished to all the gods that ever existed that her kids were somewhere safe, hiding from these creatures. The shadow was mere feet from the bed, and the big thing had to be just outside the door. The fear she felt in this moment was nearly unbearable. She had never felt anything like this before. That is, until she saw Aylah charge from the hallway into the dark room. Aylah said over and over while she cried. Aylah jumped on the bed while she continued to yell. Aylah was scared, but proud of her brave little girl. Aylah positioned herself between the shadow and her mama. Aylah was beaming with pride for the girl trying to protect her. Aylah fought against the paralysis. She couldn't let Aylah face these things on her own. She closed her eyes and gritted her teeth, exerting maximum effort. For what felt like forever, nothing happened. Aylah was losing hope. She dug deep inside her soul. She had to protect Ava and Aiden. "Get the fuck out of here!" Aylah screamed at the top of her lungs and opened her eyes. Aylah was instantly confused. Her room was bright, and not from her bedroom light. It was daytime. Her curtains were open, and it was bright as the desert in her room. Evelyn was sitting on the bed next to her legs, looking more terrified than any little girl ever should. Ava felt horrible for that look on her daughter's face. Aylah heard movement from the doorway. Aiden was standing there, looking every bit as scared as Ava. Evelyn jumped off the bed, and Aiden looked ready to bolt. "No, no, no," Aylah pleaded to her children. "Come here. Mama was just having a bad dream. I wasn't yelling at you." Ava stopped, but neither child made a move towards or away from their mama. Aylah thought they would both flee. She sat up. It felt very good not to be superglued to her bed. Evelyn smiled, wiped the tears from her eyes, then jumped on the bed and hugged her mama. After a couple of seconds, Aiden did the same. Thank you for taking a ride with Lost Souls. Please come back next week for another ride and another story. And remember, all lost souls are welcome.